Alright, welcome back to the third Unreal Engine 5 tutorial. So now we're going to just look at some basic level design concepts to kind of get you guys going to build your very own small little level. So the very first thing I'm going to show you guys is first how to import new shapes and new things into your game. To do that, you're just going to come to this right here, and you have a whole bunch of shapes here that you can add. You also have some lights you can add as well, some visual effects, which we'll talk more about later. But this is where you can kind of add some basic shapes, and then all classes in your game are going to be under the all classes. Now, along with that, let's go ahead and talk about the content drawer, which is this. So to access the content drawer, you just either click this right here, which is the content drawer, and this will pop up, or you do control and space, and it allows you to toggle this in and out. This is everything that exists inside your game. So let's go ahead and review. The outliner tab is everything that exists inside your level. However, you may have multiple levels. So if you don't Sorry about this. Here we go. We'll just do that. Right, so here's the outliner tab. This is everything that exists inside your level, not your game. This down here is everything that exists inside your game. Now, if you don't know the difference right now, that's okay. I just want to specify that these are not to be confused as the same thing. And as you can see, they don't have the same folders here. So just keep that in mind. This is everything inside of your game. Now, inside of here, you'll find that there are various things already made for you, like props, for example. So if you wanted this chair, you can drag this chair actor into your scene, and you can have this nice little cool chair. You also have a metal sphere and a statue, which are all right here. And then you also have what are called materials. Now, materials are things that are going to coat static meshes inside of your world here. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab this rock material here and drag it onto my scene. And as you can see, the entire static mesh component here was covered with this rock mesh. Now, there are various ways you can edit materials, and we'll talk all about this shader graph uh, later. But for right now, I'm just going to change the tiling here to make this material just a little bit better. I think that should be enough. Yeah, that's a lot better. We'll talk about this in depth detail later, but this is how you can add materials to your scene and add other assets as well to your scene. You can also come in here, go to the content, and you can search various content right here. So if I go ahead and type in material, assuming I can spell material, here's all the various material that is currently existing in my game and that I can drag and add to the world. So like some cobblestone, for example. And as you can see, this now has this nice little cobblestone texture on it. And maybe this texture, right? So I think you guys get the point here, and when I go ahead and play, all of this stuff will be rendered onto the screen and will be visible for me. So that's the bare bones basics of just adding materials to the world. Now you can also manipulate the lighting a little bit here by coming here, and there's various details that you can change about the lighting here. And if you also hold E here as well, you can also change the direction of certain light components. So for example, if I want it to be nighttime, I would point the light up, and then I can point this back down for it to be daytime. I can also change the angle here as well. All the various components are there too, just in case you wanted to mess with the lighting. Now, let's say you didn't want to have to dig through all the various components in the lighting tab over here to figure out how to manipulate the lighting. You can also come right here to the Windows tab and go Environment Light Mixer, and there's a variety of settings here that you can alter to change the color of your world here as well. So you can also do it here too. You can change the scattering, for example, so that's like the sky color and the cloud color. Um, We'll do a more in-depth look at all of this later, but I just wanted to show you that this is where it is. And as you see, I changed the clouds here to a nice little pink. All right, cool, cool. So that's the basics here of, again, adding some new things, moving around, and changing up the lighting a little bit. Let's now look at Quixel Bridge. So to get Quixel Bridge, you're just going to click this arrow here, and you're going to click on Quixel Bridge. Now, if you go back to the Epic Games launcher, you can actually go to the marketplace and download Quixel Bridge if it's not already downloaded on Unreal. So this is where you can download it. You would type in Quixel Quixel, I think it is. Quixel. That's what it is. I think it's Quixel like that. Could be wrong. Here we go. We'll come down here. But it's right here. It's actually Quixel. So if you don't already have it here, you'll just download it here and you'll click install here. And this is where you can get Quixel Bridge, which is really, really, really cool. I'll show you why here in a second. So let's go back to Unreal. I already have Quixel Bridge installed, which is right here. And I'm going to go ahead and open it up. Now, you will have to sign in to Quixel Bridge, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Let's see if it signed me in. Yep, so it signed me in, but this is where you would sign in. It's very similar to your Epic Games, and you are all good with Quixel. You will need to accept the terms and conditions of Quixel, which, essentially say you can use Quixel, just, don't abuse it, don't publish all this stuff as your own on another website, all that kind of stuff, right? And you're more than welcome to use these in your game. And essentially what this is an entire static mesh library, and you can use these static meshes in your game. So let's say I wanted to build like a tombstone area. I can drag this tombstone out, and as you see, the tombstone has now been imported into my world. And I can move it around just like so, and I can also duplicate it by holding Alt and dragging here to duplicate the tombstones, just like so. And this is kind of how you can add your very own cool looking, very realistic assets to the world, just like so. So I can drag this over, boom, boom, and that looks nice. Now, there is one small catch with Quixel Bridge, and that's that everything in Quixel Bridge that you grab has no collisions by default. So that's actually very easy to work around. To alter the collision of these assets, you can do it in one of three ways. You can either click on it, go to the details panel, go to the static mesh panel, and double click on this, and it opens up the static mesh component. We talked a lot about actors and components in the last video, so please go watch that if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say an actor and components. I do a nice breakdown of it in my last tutorial video. But that's one way to open up the static mesh component. You can also right click here and go to edit with the brick, and this will open up again the static mesh component, which you can then edit. Or my favorite way to do it, you can just click on it and hold Control and click E, and that will open it up here. To dock this, I'm just going to drag this here, and it allows me to dock and switch between my scene / level and my static mesh component. To add collisions to this, you're going to come up here to collisions. You're going to click here, and you're going to click auto convex collisions. This creates a collision algorithm, which simply just gives this a very nice collision map that you can then apply. You can also add your own collisions here. Like let's say you wanted this to have the collision of a box. You could do that as well, and now it has a box collision mapping, as you can see. If you wanted to do sphere, for example, you could also add that as well. You could also remove all the collisions. You can create a simplified X collision. A whole lot of little mapping options you have here. But the best one, in my opinion, is the auto convex collision. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. Now you have some parameters here. Essentially, when you create a collision mapping, you create a whole bunch of 2D shapes that describe how the collision is mapped. And whenever you run into one of those 2D shapes, you stop and you can't go past it, right? You collide with it. This determines how those 2D shapes are made. So these parameters right here, I'll go ahead and drag it up because my face is dropping it. These parameters here alter how the 2D shapes are made to create the collision mesh that defines collisions for the static mesh asset. So a bunch of jargon there that you may not need to worry about too much. I generally leave these just like this. You can change them though if you want a slightly different collision mapping. Whenever you're ready, you're just going to click apply, and a collision mapping right here has just been created for you. I'm going to go ahead and look here. So talking about the collision mapping again, you just have these shapes here. So for example, I have this nice little green triangle, for example. And whenever I run into this green triangle, I obviously collide now with the static mesh components in the game. And you can come here and you can change these vertices however you want. You can move this stuff around, you can rotate it, you can scale it, all that good stuff still available to you. So when you like how the collisions are working and you really like it, you're going to go ahead and just click save, and then you can close out the static mesh components, and these will now all have collision. So I'll go ahead and walk up, and as you can see, this now has collision. And yeah, guys, so I would call this just the basics of level design. This should really get you kind of going into the right direction here. You can now manipulate the lighting of the world, and now you know how to bring in more realistic assets, so you can kind of customize your level here and really kind of have some fun with it, really develop and create some really cool looking scenes as they are known, and really develop your game. So anyways, guys, I'll go ahead and just build a small little area here. Um, Nothing too crazy, just showing you some of the concepts here and how I would do it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. So I'll go ahead and finish out here. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next one.